All right, how's it going? Welcome to my first episode of the NFL Fantasy Fakeball. Basically going through the scripted NFL season that will be 2024. Before the 2024 NFL season kicks off, now I see it looking more and more generic. The football has gotten more generic. I really kind of stopped watching it back in I'd say about 2014, 2015. Maybe when was Dak Prescott come out? Maybe 2016. I kind of got a little bit interested into it again, but it really went nowhere, especially after the kneeling stuff. So it's been mostly a joke, and it's kind of just keeps on dilapidating to where you have ridiculous shit like Taylor Swift being the main focus of the NFL. However, with that being said, I figured I would go ahead and talk about the scripted football seasons, and give my thoughts on the way that the booking may go. This doesn't necessarily mean that the booking will go this way, but I'll know a little bit more after the draft. But I figured I would go ahead and start with the AFC North, since the Kansas City Cheaters won the Super Bowl for the second time. It was basically the more that they try to make these games look appealing and give them extra depth, the less appealing they become. So you get a rematch between the San Fran shithole 49ers and the Kansas City Cheats. And, ultimately, this is what we fucking get. We get some dry ass Taylor Swift and, Travis Cleese together, and they're a couple, and this is a storybook. And it was really fucking garbage. It was trash. The NFL's a joke, and if you're an NFL fan and you didn't call it out, then you look like a joke on your little channels while you're over there having your little Taylor Swift counters. And how many times do we get to see Taylor Swift? No, you look fucking lame. You really do. And so, your product is dry as fuck. Everybody knows it's scripted now. It's pretty easy for me to say. Now it's not as taboo as it used to be. You can go and call me a fucking conspiracy theorist all you want. You just look like a fucking lame-oid simp in a shill. So I don't really care. So let's go ahead and get into your AFC West, your Super Bowl division, that is. And I'm going to go through the teams, and I'm going to go ahead and give them, go through what I think that they're going to do in the draft, and how that'll treat them, and then give them a wrestler that you can go ahead and connect with the way that their season is probably going to go. Now, mind you, that there's probably not a lot of wrestlers that a lot of people are familiar with. So in other teams, bigger teams, I'm going to give them like the Cowboys. I'm going to give them like Stone Cold, or I'm going to give the 49ers something like The Rock, or the Pittsburgh Steelers something like Hulk Hogan, because those are big name franchises that people keep up with. However, for the most part, that way you can kind of keep up and connect with where these people are and where these teams are going to be going forward and whatnot. But so we go with we'll start off with the lowest team in the AFC West, which was the Los Angeles Chargers. They were 5 and whatever the hell they were. I don't know. 5-11 or something. So they're going to be picking up at the top half of the draft. And now everybody's like, oh, yeah, this is going to be a jobber. This is going to be like Hornswoggle or somebody. Not necessarily. I have a feeling that the Chargers are going to be pretty competitive next year. I really believe that. They're probably not going to have an injury to their quarterback next year like they did this year, to go ahead and make sure and that they land their prospect that they want, because you'll notice that in the NFL now, injuries used to be unheard of, and then even if you did have an injury, a lot of players would play through it. But nowadays, the players will get injured in fucking training camp, and then they'll be out for the whole season, and then they'll forfeit the whole season, and then they'll get a good draft pick, and then the following year they end up screwing over you on your fantasy team and your pick'ems and your damn picks and shit, while you're putting down money. that's how Vegas kind of like rigs the bet and shit. Is that like Aaron Rodgers, first game of the season. I'm out for the season. Nobody knows what the fuck happened to the guy, but apparently he tore some Kobe Bryant muscle or some shit, and he's out for the whole season. That's just how the NFL works. I know that a lot of people are going to sit there and claim you're a conspiracy theorist. That shit would have worked about 10 years ago. Right now, it doesn't carry that much validity. So I think that the Chargers are going to be one of those teams that's going to go from last and to being really competitive for that division, maybe even ahead of the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm going to go ahead and put L.A. Knight with the L.A. Chargers because I see them going into the top of the draft. They got Quentin Johnson last year. Are we going to break the monotony? Probably not. They'll probably go and get Brock Bowers. They'll be picking at number 5. That seems like the most San Diego pick, or the most Los Angeles Chargers pick ever is Brock Bowers, tight end. This is exactly where I see the Los Angeles Chargers are going to pick. They're going to pick Brock Bowers. And with Justin Herbert coming back, you'll have that guy on the line. He'll be that safety valve, and I do think that they'll end up being competitive and challenging and pushing the Kansas City Chiefs. So they go from the complete bottom, competing for the complete top of the Kansas City Chiefs. We all know that the damn AFC West was pretty much rigged for the Kansas City Chiefs not to have any real competition in that division. And they didn't. There was no competition in that division for the Kansas City Chiefs whatsoever. I think next year will be a different story because ultimately this Super Bowl sucked. Super Bowl last year, the 2 Super Bowls in a row that Kansas City Chiefs have won have been complete garbage from the fans that they still have that watch the shit. I don't watch the shit, so I don't know. I only get this from secondhand information from the motherfuckers that still watch it, and they say that it's trash. They say that it's garbage. And you know what? I'm inclined to go ahead and believe them because it's been garbage whenever I stopped watching the shit. It was already garbage. So, yeah, it's fine. It's trash. I'm going to go ahead and take it as trash. There's no reason, just like me getting Peacock, there's no reason whenever I watch Raw that I'm going to go ahead and get into Peacock and invest in whatever the fuck this is. This is the same thing with the NFL. There's no reason for me to get the NFL Network or buy the shit on YouTube or buy it at any of these fucking sites that I could get it on whenever the shit looks like complete and utter trash. It's a waste of my money. You're stealing money from me. So we'll get into the next team, which I'll go ahead and go through, the Denver Broncos. Now, the Denver Broncos, a sad, pathetic little team. They have a rich history. We're a really, really popular team, but now they're kind of like an afterthought, kind of a joke team. They got Sean Payton, you know what I'm saying? And they're probably going to end up getting rid of Russell Wilson, kind of hoping that they do, and they send him to Dallas. Dallas can offer a package for him to go ahead and get Russell Wilson in Dallas. I would like that. However, with that being said, I think that the Denver Broncos, you got Sean Payton there. Bo Nix is like Drew Brees. He's kind of like Drew Brees, only bigger than Drew Brees. So this would be a Drew Brees for Sean Payton. At Drew Brees' a full potential. Now, we got the San Diego Chargers. They're L.A. Knight. I'm going to go ahead and give the Denver Broncos a Drew McIntyre. Like, nobody really cares. Drew has had some sloppy. Since he's come to the WWE, I know Drew can go. Everybody knows Drew can go. If he gets into a character and they give him a character worth of shit, then he could be, he could potentially get some interest into Drew McIntyre. But the sure fact is that WWE doesn't know. And that's the same thing with the Denver Broncos. They don't know what the fuck they're doing with anybody. So it's highly missable. They're highly missable. They're highly just like, oh, okay, it's the Denver Broncos. I'm not going to worry about them. It's not that big of a deal. What are they bringing to the table? Because nobody's investing any of the time to develop the team. Just like they're not taking any time to develop Drew McIntyre. I go ahead and give the Denver Broncos, put them as Drew McIntyre for me. Are they gonna? Is Drew McIntyre gonna win the world title? Is Seth Rollins gonna? Who cares? Nobody cares. That's kind of like where it's at right now. Nobody cares because there's no interest because you got boring Cody Rhodes, you got them doing boring promos, you got them burying themselves. Between Seth, Drew, and Cody, they're just burying. They don't need any. Roman Reigns doesn't need a golden shovel. These motherfuckers are embarrassing and burying themselves. And so it's kind of like the way I feel about the Denver Broncos. I think that they get Bo Nix. I think that's his quarterback that they're going to go to. Of course, they're not going to do a lot because they still need a lot of pieces there. They still have a lot of issues, but I do think that Sean Payton goes after his guy. He goes after Bo Nix, goes ahead and tries to create another Drew Brees in Denver, trying to recreate the product that he made in New Orleans. It may take a little while. They're going to be like one of those 8-8 teams. They may start getting some momentum at the end of the year, kind of like they did this year. But yeah, it's going to take a while. So it is what it is. The Denver Broncos. Go ahead and give me the Drew McIntyre Denver Broncos finishing out, as a mid-quarter, pretty much at the end of the year. So then you got the Las Vegas Raiders now. And, it doesn't even sound right. At one point in time, the Las Vegas Raiders would have been something like a damn, like The Undertaker. That's what they were. People would show up. When they were in Oakland, they were The Undertaker. And they're still a very, very popular team amongst the hip-hop culture. That's what made, the Raiders really got out there because of hip-hop culture. Now you take them, you put them into some fucking Las Vegas, and then it's not the same. It doesn't have the same feeling. So now they're kind of like, to me, Logan Paul. Nobody gives a fuck. Where is this fucking jobber at? Why is this guy on the roster? It's a joke at the end of the day. Basically, WWE's version of David Arquette, Logan Paul, has the United States title. They've absolutely killed that fucking title. They absolutely kill every fucking title in the WWE. But this is kind of like the way I feel with the Raiders. Whenever they move to Las Vegas, really, who fucking puts a football team in Las Vegas? People go there to gamble, and I get it. They can gamble on the football game, but nobody wants to go watch football in Las Vegas. It would have been better off just keeping the shit in Oakland, to me, personally. But it is what it is. They probably had too many football teams in California, but you just brought one back, and it's just an absolute, utter fucking mess. And so the Las Vegas, the Las Vegas Raiders, I guess, I got them getting Latua, the pass rusher, because it seems to be like their shit. They always get a pass rusher in the first round. And they got a pass rusher last year. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? Do they really need a pass rusher? No, they don't need a pass rusher. They got that board. And it's like, well, I think that this is what they're going to do. They've got other needs. But I think that, if a Latua falls to him, I just think that, he's, right there in the facility of Los Angeles. They'd probably be pretty familiar with him. And, they love their pass rushers. I think that they're trying to build like some sort of Legion of Boom. And maybe not this year, but in a few years, maybe they come back to that Undertaker status where Las Vegas Raiders are the goods, They're going to end up having to end up pushing this team eventually, whether they make a Super Bowl or not. They're going to end up being a playoff team here pretty soon because they got to justify moving the Raiders to Las Vegas. So here pretty soon, the Las Vegas Raiders are going to be on the playoff. But I do think that they're going to go ahead and build up. You've got Pat Mahomes. You're going to end up getting Bo Nix in that conference. You're going to have Justin Herbert and then Brock Bowers coming in. So they're going the opposite. They're going to defense to make it, a heavy pass rush. Maybe get some secondary players or whatnot. I don't think that they're going to reach for a, by about this point, will they get a Mike Penix later on? I don't know if I'd reach for Mike Penix in the first round. You're probably going to have a couple of quarterbacks fall out there. If you want a quarterback, you might as well just go ahead and wait. And if there's not one that you trust, I go ahead and say, you know what, get an offensive lineman. They need a linebacker, but more than likely they're going to end up going with pass rusher. I think that they'll get a pass rusher in the first round. I got that Latua kid out of LSU or not LSU, UCLA. And them going pass rush, trying to build up their defense. That's what I think is going to happen. It's the Logan Paul. Right now they're the Logan Pauls. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares about them. Everybody thinks it's a joke that you're here in Las Vegas, just like everybody thinks it's a joke that Logan Paul has the United States champion on his belt, and nobody can take this shit seriously. So we go to the Kansas City Chiefs. And by all means, everybody already knows who the Kansas City Chiefs are. They're the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, and that's exactly what they have. They have Patrick Mahomes. They have Travis Cleese. They have Taylor Swift. And that's kind of what it is. It's kind of been their shit all year. And everybody sees that it's mostly scripted for them to win. They don't really have to show up half the time, which they rarely do show up. Their games look more like a Madden game. You've got Patrick Mahomes just doing goofy throws and shit, and everybody believing it's real. And maybe a select marginalized few that still watch it, that are video game nerds, still think it looks cool. But for any kind of real football fans, it looks kind of pathetic and stupid to us. It looks really lame. So we see here that everybody says that other than Sidney Rice that they got last year, was it Sidney Rice? Was it whatever the kid that they got out of SMU? There's a kid I thought that the Houston Texans should have got. Houston Texans did a hell of a job, so I'm not worried about them not getting this kid because they still got some pretty good. But he was their best wide receiver last year. That was the only receiver that they got. Well, I just seen the damn football combine, and I see Xavier Worthy run a 4.21 40. You know what I'm saying? If that doesn't look like a fucking Kansas City, I can guarantee you fucking Kansas City is right now, the owner of Kansas City is on the phone with Roger Goodell, telling Roger Goodell, nobody can take Xavier Worthy. We're going to get Xavier Worthy. And that's going to be their Tyreek Hill replacement. Why? Because fucking Patrick Mahomes has to have a wide receiver that's open by a country mile for him to complete passes. That's the only way that Patrick Mahomes can complete a pass is to a wide open wide receiver. It's more of a college run and shoot style of offense that they have in Kansas City. It's generic and looks like a joke. So, like I said, Patrick Mahomes needs his Tyreek Hill. Xavier Worthy, I can already tell right now they're going to set that shit up to where the Kansas City Chiefs will get Xavier Worthy. He's going to be a Kansas City Chiefs. Everybody's going to be building these other receivers up like Marvin Harrison Jr. Donde Mitchell had a really good 40 time. You had Brian Thomas Jr., which I think that some people say that the Cowboys may go for him. I'm going to wait and see because that's one I would say that I would like the Cowboys to get, but Jerry never does the shit that I want Jerry to do. So, I can already see him going out and getting a fucking, a punt returner or something, Killian Robinson, which I have nothing against Killian Robinson, but you know what? We don't need a fucking punt returner. So, I mean, it is what it is. But that's what Kansas City Chiefs going to do. They're going to go out. They're calling up Roger Goodell. Make sure nobody takes up because we've got to get him. He's going to be the last pick. He's going to be slept on. We got to get him. He's got 4.21. He's going to be wide open. That's what's going to happen. And that's going to be, but, like I said, Xavier Worthy he didn't have the best hands, to be honest with you. That was his downfall, was he couldn't, he had like stone hands. Fucking Xavier needs to wash his hands with fucking sea salt and fucking hot water. Get soft hands, motherfucker, because, you're going to have to catch that ball now that you run that 4.21. So, anyways, I figured I'm going to go ahead, maybe every Sunday do another division. This is the AFC West. So I'll go ahead and break it down. What I think is going to finish. I think that Kansas City finishes up top at the AFC West. It's going to be very, very close. I've got the Los Angeles Chargers finishing second. I think it's going to be a close second. I think it's going to come down to the end of the year. I do believe that San Diego or the Los Angeles Chargers get that wild card spot, and the mid carders. I think that Denver will probably finish like at 7-9 or something like that, and maybe the Las Vegas Raiders finish at 9-7, and they're just barely pushed out of that playoff. But it's going to be close. I think that the top of the division is going to be really competitive. I think that you're going to have some potential there at the bottom of the division, uh, and so yeah, that's what I see going on. So Kansas City Chiefs will win the AFC West. I don't believe that the Kansas City Chiefs will repeat as Super Bowl champions, third-time Super Bowl champions. I know that Roger Goodell wants to, but I don't think that the fan base is ready for it, and I think that the fan base is almost ready to give up on the fucking product right now, as it is right now, with the Taylor Swift bullshit going on and all this stuff. We're gonna have to see how the next season looks like. But anyways, yeah. So go ahead and give me having Kansas City winning the AFC West, and go ahead and give me um, the Los Angeles Chargers wrapping up one of those wild cards. So, anyways, if you watch this fantasy fake ball, if you watch the scripted NFL, what do you think is going to happen? Y'all like, sub, do the shit the internet tells me to do to get over. And for now, I'm out.